Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Let me first of all reach out to my guests. Thank you, Alasia, A Troubled Green, Max, Purple Valkyrie, for being here. There's some crazy news we got today. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, this
I
is
Yeah.
awesome.
appreciate it. Yeah. So I want to give credit where credit is due. And boy, you guys are blowing it up. If only you knew what was going on in the green room. Let me call out the people who are here. We have Nerdscape. Hail to you. We've got TD. Hey, hail to you too. Of course, Alasia, and then Shield Wall of Dragons. Our good friend, Jaden Hamilton. It's great to see you. So let's not bury the lead on this thing. The last thing that somebody sent me was, let me just pull this one up. Um, Max, why don't you go ahead and just kind of set this up, and I will pull up your screen because again, you're the one who brought this to our attention, and then we can roll through some of these things.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. So this morning, as we were celebrating Purple's 2,000 subscribers and her 2-year anniversary on her channel, I noticed that on Twitter, as I was scrolling through, that there were a couple of Tolkien fan sites and YouTube channels and influencers that all had posted kind of around the same time, speaking about a event that they went to last week in London. And we have a whole thread that basically all of these channels,
Yeah.
influencers, what have you, all went to this thing and got a
Yeah.
pre-screening of the show that no one else has seen before. And so we wanted to cover that here on this channel so that we could kind of post some questions, ask the chat, see what you
Yeah.
guys think, and kind of cover it as a whole, because there are a lot of people who went to this thing. So we wanted to just kind of show that.
Yeah, and what we also want to show is the scope and scale of,
Mhm.
and hey, there's Gideon. We want to
He
show
is
the
here,
Gideon cat is to show the scope and the
yeah.
scale of what was involved for this trip. This was not
Mm,
staying at a two-star hotel and dining at Burger King. This was pretty opulent. And the players involved in this, the people who got to go see this and experience this, we're still trying to formulate to what level this was incentivized by Amazon, but it looks to be a very very high dollar experience. Now, I'm just going to say this up front. There are some individuals who attended this who are in contact with me and we are talking, but they cannot share a lot of details at this time. When it is becomes clear to what a level they can, we will be talking to them, but that will not be today. Let's go ahead and let me just jump back to the chat real quick. So we have Excalibur, hail to you. We've got Max Mercer, and of course, Shield Wall of Dragons. Thank you all for being here today. So, Max, let's go ahead and start with this first article. You will have the honor, sir, of bringing this up. And if you want to zoom in, you can a little bit, but give some context to this and what we're looking at. All of us, Alasia, Purple, myself, we have a variety of tweets that are pulled up with extensive pictures of very nice looking things that all of these Tolkien fan sites and Tolkien sources of fan information were treated to.
Yeah, so the first one that I actually noticed this from Corey Olson, who's the Tolkien professor on Twitter, but it was one smaller piece of a larger thread from Dr. Una McCormick, who writes tiny letter in which I very unexpectedly had a sneak preview of the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of
Mm-hmm.
Power, and then she starts posting. Now here's where it gets pretty interesting. As you guys can see, the elaborateness of, or that's not a word, but the elaborate construction of this event. Looks like this
Mhm.
may be like a brunch or breakfast setting, to which they were invited to. um, some more of those pictures, um, and so we have the actual location that they were at.
Yeah.
And which, hey, don't get me wrong, this looks absolutely beautiful. All of these are like exquisite with just the elaborateness of all of this. Here's another, like a pub or something I think they went to. But then she continues on and says that I'm going to add links for everyone who is here as well. So that means
Mm.
Tea with Tolkien, Tolkien Society, the One Ring.net, Marcel Albron Boulez. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that
Yeah,
incorrectly.
and we have all of those separate tweets pulled up in separate streams. And in
Mhm.
case you all decide that you need to block me later, I have screen capped them, just because I want to be able to talk about these things maybe in the future. No disrespect. But yeah, it's remarkable the amount of ostentatiousness and the amount, the type of people that were brought to this. What do we think as far as how would you categorize Alasia in Purple? The type of groups or entities that were brought in here. Would we call them fan sites, fan influencers, trusted sources of Tolkien information? I guess what is our perception on this?
Yes, just having a look at the pictures that people have posted, and the blogs and the people that are listed within this thread, it does seem they are all very of a similar mindset, I think would be the best way to put it. Um, there's a few blogs that I'm going through, and it does look incredible. But this is the first that I'm hearing of it, so clearly we weren't. Um, we weren't the people that they were looking for, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah. What about you, Alasia? Did you see anyone in here at all that's been critical to date in any way? I guess on what's happening with Amazon, or I guess what's your read on that?
Yeah, I mean, I have to definitely notice that the vast majority of people that are here, or at least all of them, it seems like, are people who have been willing to overlook certain, shall we say, issues that some of us have brought to the forefront with what Rings of Power is doing with Tolkien's lore. You can't help but notice that a lot of these people are the people who have kind of been buttering this up a little bit. So I do find it interesting that no one, it appears, we probably don't have every single person, but it appears that a lot of the people who were there are the people who are okay with what is going on at the Rings of Power. So I do find that a bit interesting.
So one of the things that I noticed was there's a Tolkienist by the name of John Garth. Now I don't know that name. Now Alasia, Max, Purple, do you know that name as far as Tolkien scholarship?
No, I do not.
No,
No, I
no,
don't.
Okay.
sorry.
So this might be somebody who gives, say, and I could be wrong about this. I'm just a dumb yank, but this could be somebody who gives tours, I guess, wherever this would be. Now, again, Purple, this is, you're in the UK. It's a big country, relatively speaking. But I mean, is that a fair assumption? Have you ever been to some of these places like they're looking at here? I mean, I'm assuming they're in Oxford. Have you, it's far.
Yes, it seems so. The actual event seems to have taken place in London, but they're also talking about Oxford as well. Now there are talking tours that take place. There are walking
Yeah.
tours, and especially around the Midlands. But yes, I'm not familiar with this person, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, and it's fascinating. Why don't I allow you? So all of us pulled up the individual tweets. Purple, why don't I'm going to give you the screen and let you pull up what you want to discuss what you found as well, because I think it's important. Comments aren't showing on YouTube. Sorry, go ahead and you guys vamp for me for a second. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what's
sure.
going on.
What I will pull up, I'll pull up this blog if that's okay. So this is the
Yeah,
one that
please.
we found, or one that I found, and it's actually a really well written blog. So thank you to her for doing that. So basically, she's detailed everything that happened on that day, and we
Mm.
get a good look of the stuff that they were given as well. So there were goodie bags given out, which is interesting. Seems to be lots of pictures were taken. There's don't know who that guy is. I don't think he's got anything to do with the show itself. So scroll past that. But it's very interesting. So there's more to do with Oxford, and we know obviously Tolkien had a strong connection with Oxford. But this looks beautiful. It looks like there was some sort of talk as well that went on. Um, So they say that it was in London, but this to me definitely looks like it's Oxford, in one of the rooms that they do for like seminars and things. So yeah, we spent our first day in Oxford as we explored the university, visited Blackwell's bookshop, enjoyed a beautiful lunch at the Divinity School, and were treated to a surprise talk from the esteemed Tolkien scholar John Garth. Afterwards, we stopped for a pint in the Lamb and Flag in Oxford. So this was, quite a thing that they went through. So it says podcasters
Yeah.
that were there. So people that she's listened to for years, authors, friends that have made on Twitter. So this is definitely a side of Twitter that we're not a part of, I think, because we've been quite skeptical and
Yeah.
scathing of the Amazon Lord of the Rings.
Sorry to interrupt you, Purple. So I'm having some issues with Restream. Imagine that. We decided to go live an hour ago and now YouTube is acting weird. I just want to say apologies for that. I also want to call some people out in the chat. We've got Sketchy Demon, hail to you. We have Lucas Bertoni, who was with us when we were live, talking about what was happening with the Brazil release of the marketing approach that Amazon was taking for the Lord of the Rings. And then, of course, we have Matt, one of my channel members, that shouldn't be. In addition, Paul Cook, hail to you. Brandon, the anime guy, another one of my channel members. Ash, Roman of the Empire, great to see you, as well as Amanda Manethrin, Nathan, great to see you. We'll be talking tomorrow night. And the Council of the Rings. Yes, we see you. If you are interested in coming on the show and providing some of your perspectives, please, I'm on Twitter, Salty Texas C, and my DMs are open. We'd love to speak with you. And hail to you, James Nicholson. So, Purple, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Thank you for indulging me.
Oh
Please
no,
continue.
not at all. Great to see everybody, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, so this actually really grateful for her for writing this blog, because it really gives us an in-depth look of
Yeah.
what they got to do. So she said the next afternoon we were given a sneak peek of some exclusive footage from
There
the
it
first
is.
season of The Lord of the Rings of Power, followed by a long Q&A session with a handful of the show's writers and top creative minds.
Yeah, Max, what's your read on this? Sorry, I'm doing triple duty and also checking who else might be joining the show. So
Yeah, of course. So yeah, one of the big things that I've been seeing right now is as of I guess at least as of right now, for the tweets that we've seen and for even the blog that you have pulled up, Purple, um, there hasn't really been any explanation or any details on the show itself,
Mm-hmm.
which I just kind of question. I wonder if that's something they are allowed to talk about, or if that's something that they are trying to hold off on until maybe they get some uh, license from Amazon, or maybe some agreement with Amazon. But from for what I see in the most part from Twitter and from the comments and stuff like that, is that people have praised the footage that they've been
Mm-hmm.
shown, and that they really enjoyed their time in Oxford or in London, wherever they were. So that is what I get out of from most of this. So, but I would love to hear what the chat thinks as well. It looks like we've got 30 plus people watching. So thank you guys so much for being
yeah,
here and for watching.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I would, that's kind of
yeah.
my take. I haven't really seen any concerns though, which, take that with what you will, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have,
Oh,
and
okay.
no, is in from one website at this point. And
Mhm,
again, I want to be very careful because we're not trying to tell anybody how to feel.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
I'm sharing my perspectives. I'm sharing my concerns, just like Max, just like Purple, just like Alasia. And when we express our concerns, my goal is to substantiate why, and not rage farm. Um, there was one, and I have not gone exhaustively through all of these tweets, but
mhm,
there was one, ironically, one. Let me pull this up. So there was one fan site that I actually did a video on with Alasia last week, where we were talking about some of the what we perceive to be as not answering some of our fan concerns. And I don't believe that was necessarily the words of the Fellowship of the Fans. I had concerns around the fact that it looked like a bullet pointed list had been given to Tolkien fan sites, and that they were just kind of cut and pasting it. And The Fellowship of the Fans and I have been in contact a couple different times, and they've been very respectful. And I continue to have the same perception that I did before. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Well, they're the ones who, after attending this, and I've put it on the screen, they said that they actually raised a concern. And there was a second part to this. And I need to pull this up. You guys vamp for me a second because there are way too many things going on.
Yes, absolutely. And even this lady in her blog, she said, she says, it's become very plain to me that Amazon knows the importance of earning the trust and approval of Tolkien's most devoted fans. Without the approval of the Tolkien estate, the show won't be made, and without the approval of Tolkien fans and scholars, the show won't succeed. In short, they can't do this without us. And we've been saying that from the beginning, you know.
Yeah. But I can't help but take a cursory glance through all of these tweets, and it seems like we're getting the same recycled language over and over and over again. I have a problem with it. Seems like everyone's using the word optimistic. I've seen that in almost everyone's tweets, so it's a little concerning that so many people seem to be using the exact same words over and over again.
There is a cookie cutter approach to this. I have virtually every person who went to that there pulled up in the background, and I'm trying to keep on top of it. But let me address this first, because let's hold on to that point. This is from the Fellowship of the Fans, who actually reached out to me today to share this with me, and didn't even know I was going to cover this with Max. So thank you for that. And thank you for your continued trust. And thank you for the dialogue. It means a lot to us. Because when we approach these things, I'm not a rage farmer. Like, I'm not covering celebrity trials. I love certain fandoms, and no disrespect, but come on. No disrespect. I mean, I'm just saying, and we all know what I'm talking about, right? But in this case, this is something I care about, just like Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, other things like that. But so this is what the Fellowship of the Fans put out there. They said, quote, "The footage shown was encouraging, with the scale and scope of this production truly shining through, but still left me with a few lingering concerns left unanswered." Now, that is the only thing that I've seen in all these tweets, and I haven't gone through with a team of scholars and sleuths trying to decode all the language out there. I'm not going to infer tone. I'm going to take words as they exist in sentences. Now, I'm going to start with you, Max, on this one. Is this something that looks different than a lot of the other Tolkien sites or people that may have attended this event in the UK?
Oh, absolutely. This gives a much more humanized approach. It gives much more of a authentic approach, even with them not even elaborating on the concerns that they have. Just to vocalize that and just to voice that opinion gives me much more reason to believe that what they report on may be more, like I said, authentic and genuine. But that's just what I get from this. And earlier, when I spoke about I hadn't seen many concerns, of course I have my concerns about all of this. Right now is not probably my place to share those at this point, because we, no one needs to hear my concerns about this. Everyone probably hears that already. I think the big thing right now is that we're trying to cover is just focusing on what these people have experienced here at this event, what went down, what they saw, what their concerns are, because they are the ones with the information right now. We are just trying to report on it. But like I said, I have plenty of my concerns, but that's a different stream.
So. Yeah, and I do too, and Alasia does too, and I'm sure Purple does as well. And I think, and I'll speak, you guys, I'll speak for all of us, and then you tell me where I deviated. There was an instance in the very recent past involving a movie called The Legends of Shang-Chi, and someone who got invited to a premiere, and someone who, and maybe we should just play it. What I think I'm concerned about, I'll speak for me, is that people who get free things or goodie bags or trips to the UK with guided Tolkien tours and 4-star accommodations and 4-star dinners. And we pulled some of those images up of just, it's magnificent. Like, and good for you. You've probably earned that. No one begrudges you that at all. I think the question a lot of us who weren't in that is, though, is it going to affect your judgment and how you approach this show? And let me go ahead and swap this one out. Now, a lot of us, Max, if you want to set this one up while I jump around in the back here, guys.
Sure.
You actually brought up that we should show this because this explains our concerns better than probably anything else that we could come up with.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly, Salty. Essentially, that we always want the most authentic and forthcoming and honest reactions from shows, from
Yeah,
movies, from scripts, from whatever type of art that we receive, from whatever creative input that there is. We
yeah,
always want the most the most real reaction without any
yeah.
of the glitz and glamour. And in this clip, all I see is glitz and glamour, and that's what
Mhm.
concerns me when I hear a review and I see the background, I see the lights, I see the
Yeah,
goodie bags, I
yeah,
see the lanyards.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
concerns me, and so, there may be a correlation with that because of what, what we're seeing here in this video, as you guys will
Right.
see. But yeah, you can go ahead and play that, Salty.
Yeah, so just to set this up again, this is from the night of August 16th of last year. This is at the Shang-Chi. This was John Campea reacting right out of the theater, and there, of course, is all the free goodies and loot and everything. And again, this is what it is that we, as fans of any property, are concerned with.
Okay, so just got out of watching Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's fucking awesome. Okay, so it is part, I was just telling somebody else, it is part mythological epic, it is part Shakespearean family tragedy, and it is part martial arts masterpiece. Best martial
So,
He says,
how many people who saw that movie actually thought the word Shakespeare in it? Just I wasn't one of them.
Mm-mm.
And that's what we're concerned about, is that
Yeah.
artificial fortification of a narrative
Mhm.
around the quality of a film, that it doesn't do anybody any good who's a fan of the properties. And Max, go ahead. I'm going to try and keep up with stuff that's going on in chat.
Yeah, he does say the second half of that video that it was the best comic book movie since Logan. And I'm pretty sure we've gotten Infinity War since Logan. At that point in time, we had like a litany of
Yeah.
different films
Yeah.
since Logan that had come out that
Yeah.
arguably could, contend for that. But to say that Shang-Chi, objectively as a film was better than those films, how it was produced or directed or written, I don't know. That's a very bold statement to make. And so, yeah, Purple Alasia, did you see that clip? Have you seen that clip before?
Yes, I
Um,
have seen
okay.
that clip before. Yes, and this is a relevant concern, and we've seen it before.
Mm,
I hope that these people that got to have this fantastic experience, and it did look like it was a lot of fun for those who got to do it. I hope
yeah.
it's a case that
Yeah.
now that they've done it, their judgment has not been clouded. If and
Yeah.
as you say, we're seeing the same talking points throughout all of these threads on Twitter at the moment. Nobody who has got anything negative at all to say about it. Even
Right.
Yeah.
it's like they're being very, very careful with the language that they use.
Yeah, and Alasia, we'll go next with you if you have your link ready. But this is interesting. This is from someone that I don't know, but again, it is the same language. It's essentially everybody is very grateful, and I guess I'd be grateful too if somebody
Hmm.
gave me a free trip to the UK and put me up in a hotel. And there's no bitterness in that. It's just what this is the question, and I'm not seeking to answer it in this show. What was the transaction required to get this? And what is the expectation of those who accepted this? I don't know what that is, but again, that's why we played the Campia clip. Are there strings attached to this? What can and can you not say? And I've only seen one group that said there are concerns. And again, I would say they probably have some type of limited NDA, in my opinion, that would
Hmm.
prevent them from in any way saying anything that could be concerning. Um, but yeah, Alasia, let's go ahead and go to you. I know there's something you want to talk about, and let me just bounce through the 20 million screens I have open. So here we go.
So yeah, so
this is go ahead.
I've got the Tolkien professor pulled up, who I have my own opinions about him. I'm going to keep those to myself right now. Now's not the time, but you know, he went out and he was there, and again, he's worked hard. He again, I've done the whole PhD thing. I know that the road he has tread has been a long one, and he deserves, you know, getting props where props are due. What I take, and so he was there, and what I take issue with is he doesn't seem to be alleviating any concerns in his own chat, which again, I think you're right, Salty. They probably did have some sort of limited NDA, but I just I find it interesting that all he can kind of say is just regurgitate the same response to anyone who seems to have any concerns over and over again. I find that a little disingenuous for what he's trying to push for Amazon, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and just going through some of these threads as well, some of the people are a little bit more antagonistic, I found, to people who are, you know, kind of calling them out or, you know, asking them, you know, is this really as good as you're saying? And some people are getting a little bit block happy on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about that, Purple, where somebody, and maybe we can bring up that example. And I don't know, was it you, Alasia, who brought that up? But there was somebody who, which one of you? And I'll let you tell the story because I don't want to steal your glory because it's already happening. The war of the narrative around this has gone hot, and it has been slow, but now this is a shooting war, to use a metaphor, regarding Tolkien. So
absolutely. Let me just pull this up. There we go. So if I just share this one. Okay. There we go. So this is a gentleman that got to go see it. Somebody said to him, feel sorry that you had to sit through that. Probably they were, you know, just joking or you know, having a little bit of a dig perhaps, but they got blocked immediately. Do not have time to deal with these people anymore. If you want to hate on something, leave me out of it. Well,
there you go.
Are people really hating
How
on
is it hate?
Or are they just
How is it hate?
asking, is it as good as you guys are saying?
Yeah. And can we just address some of our concerns? If
Mm-hmm.
all I want to do is just be like, hey, can we maybe address the made up characters? And you're getting blocked for asking a question that does not seem the way to go about creating calm when you want a show to do well.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what we've seen. Max, I know you wanted to pull this up. This is, I'll let you set this one up and then we'll talk about that. So go ahead, Max.
Yeah, and real quick, let me just welcome in everyone. Looks like we've almost got 50 people watching right now, so thank you guys so much for showing up. Just a quick recap: we found some tweets and some videos and some people talking about their time last week in Oxford for a pre-screening of the show of Amazon's Rings of Power show. So we're just kind of going over that and seeing what actually happened. Was this a big event? Was this something they got flown out to? What was it that they actually saw in the you know, series or in this screening? So
yeah.
Do you guys think this is, sorry, Salty, do you think that this is the next stage of the rollout? So we were talking a couple of weeks ago about the trailer that dropped in Brazil, and we thought maybe that would be the next stage. But do you think that this fan event is actually, we've already had the super fans, the influencers, which went absolutely horribly wrong, as we all know.
Yeah, I do. I think what I find interesting about this is that this is coming out in a few months. Where is all the promotional material for it? Where's the merchandise for it? Why are we just getting take our word for it instances of just trust us, it's great? That's what I'm a little concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the check is in the mail. I'm not going to say the other one. You guys know what I'm talking about. I missed a comment, and so this is context. And again, thank you to my channel member, Unbearable 73. Check him out, Matt. He actually hit me on Twitter, and he said, and this was talking about John Garth. That was the individual that was pictured earlier that we thought might have been a Tolkien docent or tour guide. It's actually somebody. John Garth has written several books about Tolkien and his work. The only one that Matt ever wrote was the Tolkien in the Great War. It was about 20 years ago. Tom Shippey often praised this John Garth's work. So
Mhm.
again, I'm not a Tolkien scholar. That provided a lot of context, and I would hope that John Garth was involved in keeping Tolkien in this production. I hope they didn't just bring him in to talk about it. And yeah,
Yes, I hope so. Yes, yes. I
yeah.
mean, no doubt he gave a fantastic talk in Oxford, and I would have actually loved to hear what he had to say. But I hope he was involved in a more hands-on approach to the show as well.
And a huge shout out to Council of the Rings, who was in the chat, because
Yes.
this is actually where this video came from. I had no idea that Broken Sword had posted this. I don't think he's posted this on his Twitter yet.
Okay.
So this was like 3 hours ago he posted this video. So I have not watched it. I don't know if anyone in the
I
chat
hadn't
has
seen
watched it. Yeah, I didn't even know.
Honestly, I would have given you credit if I would have watched it. I always try and do that. I had no idea. So I'm glad that we're all uncovering this together.
Yeah.
So
So let me go ahead and unmute, and
okay.
I'll just play a few seconds,
Okay.
or and we'll just kind of comment it as we go. Is that all right with you, Salty?
You're driving, brother. It's all good.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Of this video, the Broken Sword were invited to a Amazon Prime event where we got to have a sneak preview at the Rings Power TV series. Now, sadly, both myself and James were unavailable to make it to this event, but fortunately we were able to send Marcus Armstrong, who has done some writing for this channel in the past. You'll recognize him from some of our videos and live.
Okay, so
Interesting.
for clarification for people who might have heard that, sounds like the gentleman who we're hearing right now wasn't actually able to go. So this is a different
Yeah.
gentleman who is
Yeah.
on staff there. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring that back here.
Live streams. So I'm going to send you over to
Yeah.
Marcus now, who's going to give you a rundown on his thoughts from everything he saw this weekend. Let's get into it.
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Hi everybody, welcome to a slightly different episode of The Broken Sword. Because you are smart and clever people, you will recognise that I'm neither Jake nor James. I am in fact Marcus Armstrong, the Broken Sword tame screenwriter. You will recognise me from such things as live streams and conversations regarding the fan project for The Broken Sword, which is very, very exciting. I wrote it, so there you go. That's who I am, just in case you weren't sure. But this is a slightly different video because something very exciting happened. The Broken Sword were invited to an Amazon Prime event to have a look at a sneak peek of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. At this event, we saw exclusive footage, and we had the opportunity to meet the showrunners behind this.
Ooh, pause that a second.
Mm-hmm.
So the showrunners, of course, being Payne and McKay, the question is did they meet all of the writers that were involved in this? And for those people who haven't watched my channel before, we did a video, I think a live show a couple of weeks ago, where there were writers from Star Trek Discovery,
Mm-hmm.
from Toy Story 4, from Hawaii 5-0, and they were given credited scenes. Now there were people who were also supposedly involved from the very beginning, and that goes back to when Tom Shippey was still involved, when Christopher Tolkien was still alive. So there's also a lot of people who were listed as writers in the beginning who are now executive producers. So this whole thing is bizarre and weird. But I don't know, Max, is there a I guess something that you want to get to on this one so that we don't get copyright claimed or struck or something? Because I don't want to infuriate anybody, you know?
No, yeah, that's totally fine. I think the best thing for people would be, if you guys want to watch this, I'll most likely watch this after the stream so that we don't, I don't want to just clip his whole thing in here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we can watch that afterwards while we're offline. But once again, thank you for where'd he go? Council of the Rings, who's in the chat, for
Yeah.
recommending this video to us. And I would highly recommend everyone go watching this.
Why don't you jump ahead if you can, Max, like 30 seconds ahead, and let's just see what he says, because I'm interested to see what the tone is in this, like just anywhere. Let's see what the phrases are that are being used and if we've seen them in the tweets.
Okay.
Anticipated. But I will declare going into this that I had no particular problem with the trailer. I think that up until this point, I know that many people have had their concerns, and I understand those concerns, to be fair, about the fact that this doesn't feel like a Middle-earth series, that it's perhaps kind of...
So it sounds like he's at least recognizing those concerns for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Don't
has
know,
no
the trailer's
problem
not-
with it not looking like Tolkien, not showing us Tolkien characters that were created by Payne and McKay. Okay, well, I mean, everybody's allowed their opinion. I personally have a problem. Max, do you have a problem with that? Alasia, Purple, chat.
Yes. I got a
Tiny
sneaking
one.
suspicion that I can see where this gentleman's opinion is
yeah.
heading. But
Am I just being uptight here? I mean, is that is Corey the problem? Sorry, go ahead.
yes, I would imagine just by the way that this gentleman is talking, he had no problems with this screening, I think. But
Yeah.
again, as we've said throughout the show, this is a different type of fan. You know, these people I don't think would have been invited had they had the same kind of dissenting views that perhaps the rest of us have, or the same concerns that the rest of us have.
It looks like as of right now, the video has 603 likes and 124 dislikes. So, he's not ratioed or anything.
Yeah.
I hope they know their Tolkien, but I agree with an earlier comment that low expectations are better than high ones. Let's see.
Take a look at this, Max. It says at 3:05 mark, he states he doesn't think it's a good idea to judge a movie or TV show by its trailer. Yep, and yet, why did you make it?
Yes.
And
why have a trailer then if it's not the whole point of a trailer is to get people excited? It's to draw people in, and not just the fans, but people who aren't fans. This is your first chance, and sometimes your only chance, to get people on board with what you're trying to create.
Yeah. Well, and if that 3 million downvote was in fact accurate, if that wasn't a glitch on YouTube's part, if you've got 3 million downvotes on a trailer, then I think it's pretty brushing it off and saying you shouldn't judge a movie or show by a trailer. Well, clearly, if in fact that is true, a lot of people did, and a lot of people have issue with it, and brushing it under the rug is again saying, well, then we don't need you, even when Purple, you read that lady's blog, and she said, no, they do need us. Pick a lane.
Yeah, and we're going to start winding this thing down. So let's just go ahead and review this. We're getting again, and Max, thanks for pulling that up. It's the same. It just looks like these are thank you notes to Amazon for a great weekend, which is great. I mean, awesome, right? It's just a question again. What was the transaction for this? I'm not answering that question in this video. I just want to know, is this going to affect your objective criticism or honest takes on this Amazon production?
Agreed.
What do you guys think about that? I mean, honestly, I don't know how it couldn't. I don't know if there's any legally binding things that says you can't talk about something for a while. I don't know.
I would imagine that they are under some sort of NDA at the moment, depending on how much and what footage is to seen. But I think the best way to look at it is if they can in fact be bought, and their opinions can be swayed, is it worth the cost?
Yeah. Yeah, and will you be, I think, Alasia, you said this, and I won't steal your thunder. You said it on the Tolkien video that we did that's about to hit 3,000 last week, where we were bringing this up. George, are you here? I hit you on social. Oh my God, you guys are crazy.
George Molo.
You guys
George.
George. It's great to see you guys. I need to go and take care of something on Twitter because I'm going to try and kick somebody out a link. But you guys talk about this a little bit more. Where have we seen this with other franchises where something like this? Well, first of all, have we seen something where this many people who were the established fan sites for a property where they were all flown to another country and given this kind of treatment? Have we seen this before? And I'll be right back.
I would question, are these all people from the UK, or are there people from Europe, and did they have to make their own way here? I need to kind of delve into it a little bit more, I think, to see who was actually invited and where they're from. But I would be surprised if there were people, say, from the US or Canada who were actually paid to come to this event. What do you guys think?
It just reminds me of, do you guys remember when they were doing all the Star Wars events? And those things were spectacles.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was so much money thrown into those things. And Granted, it was the opening of those movies, but that is what we see a lot of times, is these big events put on, to put people at ease a bit, and you never really hear people coming out of those shows afterwards, and people get the microphone in their face and they go, "What'd you think of the new Star Wars?" You never hear someone go like, "Man, that was awful," looking straight at the camera and being like,
Yeah,
"Man, that
yeah,
was not very good
yeah,
at all."
yeah. Wearing
And
the T-shirt with the mug and like the hat, like that
yeah,
movie
and the
sucked, but
lanyard, and they're
thanks for
like,
the
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, does that ever happen? Yeah, yeah,
because they want to continue being invited back to those things, So
yeah.
that is my big concern here, is that the invitation being sent, was it, and I think Purple put it perfectly, is like,
Hmm. Yeah.
how much are they willing to buy, or
Hmm.
how much is someone willing to be bought in order for the cloud, or the
Well,
review, or for the next time that they're able to go to one of these things. Sorry,
no,
Alasia,
it's
did
okay. Go
you?
ahead.
I need to do this super chat. Please, Alasia, hold this. I don't have
Yes.
Zach's here to
Yeah.
hit me with a cattle prod, but he would beat me mercilessly if I did not get on these. So Ian So Forth, member of this channel, hail to you. This is a £5 super chat. Quote, don't judge a show by its trailer unless you liked it. In which case, you're right. Hold on to your thoughts. Thank God I still have my Tuesday show super chat stuff up here. Ian So Forth, this one's for you.
Not a lot.
That is the wonderful thing. I know. It's like a palate
Thank
cleanser.
you for the palate cleanser.
I
Yeah.
know, dude. It's just, it's, yeah. If you can't watch those clips and say that, well, it doesn't look like anything and whatever, and it's there's a reason why we feel this way. Those movies are moving to us. We understand it was Peter Jackson's vision, but it was also John Howe's vision. It was also Alan Lee's vision. It was also Tom Shippey's vision. And come on, guys. I'm not sure what it is we're getting from Amazon. You guys go ahead and respond to what we were talking to before. I am doing way too many things right now. So you guys, let me just Alasia, you had a point. Please go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I kind of lost my thought, but I think you had asked me
Okay.
like earlier, and I had said this on
Yes.
the art video that we did together about Nerd of the Rings. Here's the thing. It's like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we're all fans and we all love to share our passion of the thing that we love. And the fact that someone could choose between honoring what their professor has set out and choosing what a major corporation is choosing to do with said mythos is kind of sad. And I can't, I wonder deep in my gut, and I can almost kind of see this avalanche coming if this is going to be a repeat of the Disney Star Cruiser. The Disney bloggers lost thousands of subscribers because everyone said, I can't trust your opinion anymore because you're
Good
shilling.
analogy.
So
Good
it's
analogy.
very scary to see like these YouTube channels with millions of followers and see their you can see it creeping in that their followers are like, but wait, I thought this, or I thought this, and now I can kind of see them, they're being hushed up. That's very sad to me. It's not, I don't want to rage about it. I don't want to call anyone out. It's sad. I just find it a little heartbreaking that we would choose to do that.
I think that was an excellent analogy, and I hope it's, well, I'm going to be honest with you. Having watched Wheel of Time, and yes, it's a joke. Everybody take a drink of something, because every time I talk about it, Wheel of Time was the testing ground for what's occurring with this. George Bolo is a good friend of this channel. We're talking about working together when he's available and free. We're going to be doing some videos, and I'm very honored that he reached out to me. So hail to you, George. He gives us a $100 super chat. Thank you. I am humbled. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's been here in this chat today. This channel would be nothing without all of you, my channel members. I am so grateful for all of you, for your comments. Thank you. George's super chat is, this will be a Middle Earth massacre unless this is the biggest troll ever. Based on Amazon's own words in interviews publicly and social media in casting following the DEI policies, the diversity and inclusion policies, on its own merit means it contradicts canon. And I have to jump around because the super chat was cut off. Tolkien has the most diverse world ever. Let's discuss that. First of all, George, thank you. Let me give you one of my favorite super chat videos. Max knows where I'm going with this one too.
Oh yeah.
We travel light. That is handsome walk.
It's always a good time to hunt orc, you guys. So hail to you, George. Thank you for those very, very much. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue with that thought, you guys. And I just need to catch up a little bit, you guys. Okay.
Well, let me say real quick that George,
Yep.
great to have you here, brother.
No,
Thank you so much for being in the chat. And George, I would love to see your take on this because,
Yes.
guys, if you haven't seen George Molo, George the
Yeah.
actual giant slayer,
Yeah.
he has been slaying
Yeah.
giants for the past few months now.
Yeah.
But he's done some great coverage on a lot of this Lord of the Rings stuff. So, George, please, I mean, whenever you get your video out, brother, I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this because I think this is another great topic for you guys to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually did reach out to George before this live stream because this all came together real quick. Max and I got off of and again, if you haven't subscribed to Purple Valkyrie, today was her 2000 sub 2-year anniversary. Max and I were on there, and then we brought that up. Then as soon as that was done, I scheduled this and reached out to George, who I think is busy today. But hail to you, brother. Would love to work and talk with this. So Max, you're absolutely 100% correct. Let me get through this. Sorry, Purple, I think you had something you were going to say. I need a Zax. Zax, where are you? I need help.
Yes, we're kind of running around behind backstage, but thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Brian Ball says, does Purple Valkyrie still have the wall paint on? No, I took it off because I need to go take the dogs for a walk and I didn't want to scare the neighbors.
I wanted her to wear it on the show and she said no. So yeah, it happens. Oh my, George. Okay. Again, George Molo, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who's been with us in this chat. We are now at we're at 54 people watching this live stream. So I'd love to think that that's about me and maybe it's about Purple Valkyrie and Max, but I think it's about Tolkien. I think it's about our fandoms. I think it's about how much we love these properties. And I think it's important for all of us to use our voices in whatever capacity we can to share our concerns and not to rage farm and not to call names, but to say, this is why we're concerned. And that to me was the purpose of this video, was to allow myself, Alasia, Purple Valkyrie, and Max to say, we are not rage farmers. We have points of things that we want to talk about, and we'd like to talk about them on equal footing. What we want to find, though, are these Tolkien fan sites that were invited to this thing who will have an open conversation and hear our concerns and not just say, well, don't worry about it. Well, don't judge this show by a trailer, because to me, think that's disingenuous. Let me get to the super chat. Then I'd like to get your guys' reaction. Thank you again, George Molo. Thank you. For $19.99 says, anyone who can be bought, whether that is for access with a ticket and a trip, is biased. The recipe for successful Tolkien series is to follow the lore and legacy to the letter. Straying from the canon leads to doom.
You know, can I respond to that really fast?
Please go ahead.
Okay,
Alasia.
so I remember I was old enough and I was invested enough when I was little, when The Two Towers was coming out, to remember that it was the OneRing.net that held Jackson accountable for Otwin not being at Helm's Deep. They made Liv Tyler cry because they were being so mean that they were like, she does not belong there. The elves do not belong at Helm's Deep. And so it's very hard for me to take any of these people seriously when we have 22 brand new characters that are not in Tolkien's Legendarium getting on Twitter and saying, we have complete confidence in what the showrunners are doing, when back in the day, they were doing the very thing that we are doing now.
Yeah, except it's inconvenient to the narrative of a transnational corporation that has committed at least $500 million to season one. And apparently we're getting how many more seasons? 5 more seasons? I
Yeah,
can't keep
5.
these things straight. It's 5 more, just like Wheel of Time,
Mhm.
5 more seasons. And yeah, George, thank you. I'm going to give you another one of my favorites. This one's for you.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the red dawn.
Thank you. And thank you all for dealing with the fact that I'm running this thing all alone and with very little setup time. You guys are fantastic, but I really credit this panel. It's wonderful to get to work with Purple Valkyrie, with Max, and of course with Alasia. We did have another interesting article, and this did come to us from Purple Valkyrie. And I think it's important because, and I'll let you set it up. How about that, Purple?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just pull this up. So this is
I know.
the EA announcement. Is this the one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I got it.
You
I'm
got it.
pulling it up.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's
There
okay.
we go.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine. I'll open it up. Yeah. So this is in the last couple of hours, I think, it's
Yeah.
been announced. So we're getting more Lord of the Rings content, but how Tolkien this will be, I don't know. So basically, we are
Mhm.
getting a new mobile role playing game based on J.R.R. Tolkien's original books in the works at EA. So
Yeah.
let's see. Electronic Arts has announced a partnership with Middle-earth Enterprises on the development of a free-to-play, that means you can pay to upgrade, mobile game called The Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. What is it with them giving really long titles to all of these new Lord of the Rings franchise spin-offs?
I don't even understand, but I mean, mobile is dead. I mean,
Mhm.
unless you're talking about other parts of the world across the Pacific.
Yes.
It's they have to have the Lord of the Rings, kind of as the first title, and then like the subtext of Heroes of Middle Earth or the Rings of Power, because they know that if they were to just announce it as a title, if it doesn't have the Lord of the Rings attached to
Mhm.
that thing, then they're not going to have that fan base come back. So that's why these titles, I feel like, just continue to get the Lord of the Rings, the heroes of the rings of the Middle Earth, of the Rings of Power, of and it just continues
We've
to
got
like,
we've got rings, guys. Yeah.
yeah.
I know, and I'm waiting for like the intersectional deconstruction of neo-Marxist analysis of transitioning Gondor Rings of Power. Why don't we just call it that? That's even catchier than the Rings of Power, right?
It rolls off the
Um,
tongue easily, definitely. Yes.
it rolls off of something. I don't know about the tongue. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Purple. I didn't mean to.
No, not at all. It just says it's expected to enter, in quotations, a limited regional beta testing this summer. So they're trying to get it out before the TV show drops, it seems. There is no official launch date as of yet, though.
And why this is relevant, and I brought this up in the green room before we started, is the language that I'm showing on screen right now. And I will get to those supers. I absolutely will. It's EA is basing this on the stories, locations, timelines, and the characters of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Okay. But is what we're seeing with the casting choices that are being made and the what's happening in the second age going to be going forward now, starting out maybe in these EA games to reflect characters that we cinematically and also from a what you guys help me out. You know where I'm going here. Are we going to get a more diverse representational
Mm-hmm.
world based on the casting choices that occur in an Amazon property for a book that was an Anglo history for England because England didn't have one of its own? And I will allow Purple Valkyrie, who's in the UK, to speak to that.
Yeah, so you're suggesting that the Lord of the Rings, the TV show, because it is the most up-to-date version of what we're going to be getting, especially
Yeah.
to people who are not familiar with Tolkien, this is what is going to
Yeah.
be firmly embedded in their minds as what is actually Tolkien, whereas
Yeah.
we know that this is not the case. Even,
Yeah.
and we love Peter Jackson's films, we really do, but it was just Peter Jackson's take, a very respectful take on Tolkien's work, but still it did not reflect entirely the makeup of the books. But it
Yeah.
is kind of worrying, and games have a tendency to, even more than TV, to bend the rules, I guess, would be the best way to put it, with what they can and cannot get away with, especially when it comes to representation.
Yeah, and the article continues, not to steal your thunder. The Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth will feature a wide roster of characters from across Tolkien's works. Okay, Tolkien's works or Payne and McKay's works? I call me paranoid, really, but and again, they even mention it here. The move comes ahead of Amazon Prime's premiere of the mega budget TV series, blah, blah, blah. Amazon's game division last year canceled their plans for a Lord of the Rings multiplayer game. Now this pops up instead, which is probably a whole other stream. But I wanted to bring that up because Max, you brought it up on our live stream, the Tuesday night show. We're talking about people don't read comic books anymore. When people think about Superman, depending on when they first saw him, they think about what they saw on the big and small screen. And that's why these things are important, that's why, it's Christopher Reeves, or looking at what's going on in the CW, or looking at what is occurring with Henry Cavill in the Snyderverse.
Yep. And the Witcher.
Those things. Yeah. And those things, I mean, a lot of us have read the books, but a lot of a younger generation haven't. They might not even have sat through Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. So the first experience they're going to get with Tolkien will be what Amazon is doing. And that's why I think we're bringing a lot of these concerns up, just to be fair.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with coming at it from a more kind of skeptical point of view. We wanted this to succeed. We've said this from the beginning. As fans, we want amazing content, especially from Tolkien, but we want it to be respected as well, which we are not seeing.
Yeah, 100%. George, thank you. Thank you to everybody who's been here. This has been an amazing turnout in the middle of the day with an hour notice. You all are too kind. And I hope we're giving you the information you need so that you can make up your own mind. I'm not trying to proselytize anybody. I'm not trying to ruin anybody's experience. I'm trying to explain why I'm concerned, and multiple other fans on this panel are concerned. And I'm hoping that we will get a response from some of these sites. If not to me, then some of the other channels that are out there. I mean, I'm a 2,100 subscriber channel, and I've worked very hard to get there. And I just want somebody to maybe talk to us in this fellowship so we can get some of these things addressed and answered. So let me get to this super chat real quick. George, this is for $49.99, and let's see. It says, so Amazon's fake superfans failed, as we all know. Boy, those were some cringe videos. They are acting like they listened to Tolkien fans by seducing supposed fans to sell themselves out for a false fable. Whew. Wow. I'm not going to say that I disagree. I'm just going to admire this beautifully crafted statement.
No kidding.
Sir. This is no different than the TikTokers who knew nothing. Now, it's a harsh statement, but if that is indeed the case, then what is worse? Someone who doesn't know any better and is being used, or someone who knows better and goes along with it? Anyway, it's a fascinating comment, George. Thank you very much. I am going to give you, let's do Elrond.
You should have stayed dead.
Hail to you again. I know. Wait, do you need a moment? Elijah, do you need a moment? I was like, oh, a lot of things I don't want to say. It's the middle of the day. If this is a late night show, I'd be making some jokes. Let's be honest about it. But hail to you, George. It's thanks for making Elijah squeal like that. That's fantastic. That's really awesome. So what do you guys? George. Let's respond to what George is saying. You guys, they are acting like they listen to Tolkien fans by seducing supposed fans to sell themselves out for a false fable. And I know we're not trying to tell people what to think. I do think that this really expresses what it is that we're actually concerned about, guys.
It is, absolutely. And yes, we were talking about it when we started the show. We've gone through several of these, threads at the moment, and no doubt there will be more that we haven't managed to discover. And they're all using the same language. The same talking points are popping up time and time again. And I know, yes, they are probably under some sort of NDA where they can't talk about what they've actually seen, but they can certainly talk about, what it was like to be there and their initial thoughts. I would imagine.
Yeah. What do you think, Max?
Sorry, I just had to unmute myself.
That's okay, brother. Sorry, dude.
No, you're totally fine. Real quick, Sitovius
Oh,
again. I
there he
do not
is.
have a I do not have a PO box, my friend, but just message me on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll figure something out. Thank you so much. That is very, very kind of you.
And hail to you. Hail to that's a channel member, my wolf brother, Hail. So
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, hail to you, brother. Yes, and as far as George, thank you again for these super chats, man. I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
you're at work and you couldn't join us, but
Yeah.
yeah, it does feel almost like this enticing type of. I think I mean, I wouldn't say it's the equivalency of like a Grima worm tongue, right? Of kind of this seductive whisper into the ear of someone else, trying to control them from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because that seems much too vindictive and much too evil. Um, I don't want to say that, but on the other hand, it brings up a cause for concern whenever money is involved. Money is such a worldly thing that people get so caught up in it that it becomes this kind of treasure. It becomes this Smaug hoarding gold and hoarding that, his treasure.
Yeah.
And sometimes the treasure might not even necessarily be money, but sometimes clout or prestige or
That's the thing. Clout and
yeah.
access. And
Yeah,
access.
and access, yeah.
You
So, yeah, I mean, chat, you guys are unbelievable with some of the things that you have been saying.
I know.
And
I am
reiterating.
blown away, and I'm honored that you're here. And again, these comments, I say at every show. I'm a chimp with a mic. Sometimes I make sense. You guys in the chat drive these things, and you guys are on fire. This is why we do it, is to help you give a voice and not just voice our own. And that's why I'm so grateful to have people like Max, who loves Lord of the Rings, like Alasia, who loves Lord of the Rings, and also Purple Valkyrie, who loves Lord of the Rings. We're not here just to rage farm. We're here because we share the same concerns as you, and we want to articulate it in the best way that we can. So hail to you, and hail again to Council of the Rings. He says, like they are celebrating Tolkien died. In Purple, you have said this many times. It is gross and it is weird.
It is bizarre, and there's no reason for it other than to put it on that particular day. I don't know whether I was imagining it, but I thought that initially it was going to be released at the end of September. I was thinking in the mid-20s, but maybe I was mistaken.
Well, I know there was some scheduling challenges with Wheel of Time. They were going to drop both this and Wheel of Time, and I thought maybe that was the one that was going to be released in September, but I could be wrong. Wheel of Time is now coming out apparently in 2023. What is fascinating is that the Game of Thrones prequel will be coming out, I think it's a month before this.
Yes.
And we talked about it on Tuesday night, but it'll be really interesting to see if, because the comparisons are going to start immediately, right? For the normie fantasy fans who aren't invested and haven't read the books in either of these, the question will be which one kind of gets the leg up over the other. And I think Amazon's probably very, very concerned about that. Max, did I cut you off? Because I have a terrible tendency to do that because I'm multitasking.
No, not at all. I was just responding to someone in the chat, but yeah, no, I don't think okay. I just wanted to, Salty, are you okay with me kind of addressing one of our chat members here real quick?
Go ahead. I trust your judgment, dude. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. So Secret Squirrel, I know you said that you wanted us to kind of you said you guys are arguing about it, or you guys aren't arguing about it at all.
Is this the one?
And so
sorry, it's on the screen now.
Yeah, that one, and there's one that's pretty recent.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say, I don't think we need to argue about anything. Like,
no.
He says you guys just hit the same talking points over and over. Anything else would be better. The talking points here are just basically, we want to bring this information to people. We want people to come up with their own thoughts and opinions. We don't want to have arguments with each other, but we do want this information to be out there because I think it's important that people come to their own conclusions. And when we do argue about things, it's going to be over the source material. It's
Yeah.
going to be over the intentionality of
Yeah.
what people bring to the show or to the source material.
Yeah.
So I hope that that kind of better people can better understand where we're coming from. And if you guys also want, if I said something incorrect, or if you guys think you might be able to elaborate on it more so, because I'm fresh out of the military and my dumb Marine Corps brain sometimes doesn't work as well.
I
But
don't agree with,
yeah,
I
so
don't agree with that.
so yeah, I don't think we need to argue about. I think we all know pretty well what is going on. Find some good threads or ideas to talk about. Hey, man, you
Yeah.
can do it as well.
Yeah.
Like you
I
can
mean,
find some
I
great
had,
stuff to talk about as well.
I encourage everybody to go start a channel. It's not as easy as it looks. And again, Secret Squirrel, I respect the fact that you're sharing your opinion. We may not agree on it. If you want to see people fight over these things, you can. I just don't want to do that on my channel. And I will have tense conversations with people who I don't agree with. In this case, the purpose of this really was to bring this to everyone's attention, that this is part of a coordinated plan that we are seeing around how to control the narrative around a show, which in my opinion had the worst marketing launch in history. And the damage that was done is incalculable and it's global. And how are they going to recover from it? Well, this would appear to be a solid step in that direction. Now, I'm going to let these strong, independent women who are always free to tell me to F off or say whatever they want also respond to this. So, Purple Valkyrie, I can't think of anybody else who uses profanity quite as well as you. So, I'm going to let you speak to some of this.
Well, I do have a tendency to use profanity as punctuation, absolutely. Just not when on live streams. Yeah, if you're looking for channels that are going to rage about this sort of thing, this is not it. We are here to have a discussion. We are respectful. We're not calling anybody out. Even the people on Twitter, we are not having a go at them. We are just simply bringing this information to people, and you guys can make the your own mind up about what goes on. We're just trying to shine a light on what is going on, because this, other than before Max brought this to us today, we didn't know that this had happened.
Yeah, this was brand new. Like, this is all news to us.
Yeah.
There's the video that Broken Sword posted that came out just like a few hours ago. Some of these tweets are brand new. So this is all, I'm sure at some point Amazon probably said to these members and just said, hey, today, Monday, you can release, the fact that you were here, and kind of drop some more of that information. So yeah, this is brand new information to us, and we just want to address it.
Well,
because it's
the thing
important.
is like, we do have our own very private, very passionate thoughts about what's going on, but I feel like people on YouTube, we're getting to a place where we need to have more analytical, pulled back discussions so that we can work through, are we seeing this correctly, or are we bringing our baggage to the table? And I think that that's an important place to be, that we try and leave our baggage at the door and we have an analytical discussion about what is the information that is in front of us.
Sorry, you guys, we just got a bot attack, so I'm trying to resolve that and setting some people up in chat. So Nathan, if you're still with us, and let's see, Purple, if you just want to throw something out in chat, I'll drop it.
Yeah, sure. That just means you're doing the right thing if you're getting bots.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get to some of these super chats, you guys. And again, Secret Squirrel, I haven't really seen you before. Again, you're more than welcome to have a differing opinion. No one's going to call you any names here. It's just that, again, the intent of my channel is to present information. We're going to provide what we feel as individuals. Sometimes it aligns, sometimes it doesn't. I don't want to have this be Rage Farm Central. When there's a time to go nuclear, we will go nuclear, and we do on this channel. But let me get to Taker610 for $5 says, if Rings of Power doesn't feature the Saxville Baggins, I'm out. Let's remember Disney killed beloved characters and invented new ones no one liked. Well, They not only did that, but they also gender swapped, race swapped, sexuality swapped, and then actually deconstructed the character. So it was the representation of that character that mattered more than the actions, or in many cases, I would say, in what's been on Marvel Disney, they don't resemble in any way at all what it is that we liked in the source material. Now, I don't think I'm being unfair about that. I don't have Disney Plus. I tried to watch some of it and I thought it was garbage. And I saw Doctor Strange 2, and Doctor Strange 2 broke me. It broke me. I'm just going to say that, and we're going to talk about it on Tuesday, but I am done with Marvel. Let me go ahead and give you something. Taker 610, it's great to see you. You're always, it's always wonderful to see you. This one is for you. Hail again to you, Taker 610, and I promised you guys we would probably go about an hour, and I'm going over a little bit, but we will start winding down shortly. George, again, thank you. This is a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, if someone cannot follow the letter of the canon, sorry, private chat popped up, cannot follow the letter of the canon, then at minimum, they are required to faithfully emulate its heart to the T. Not following the spirit means Amazon has an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. Let me play this video. Let's get a quick reaction on that, and then we will start to wind down. Let's see. I'm going to do, this one's for you.
I am no man.
I don't know what it is, but I always think of Purple Valkyrie when I see that video. Maybe it's the deep fakes that I do. Hail to you, George. Let's talk about this one. I mean, faithful adaptation. I don't want to keep you guys. I had another article up from another fan site that talked about that. Well, let's go ahead and save that one for Tuesday night, just because I want to make sure everybody can get on with their day and be respectful. So, please, your snap quick reaction to what George is saying, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not willing to stick as closely as possible to established canon, then you might as well not be using it. You know, come up with your own fantasy show if you can, and nobody would have cared. You can have as much diversity as you wish. You can have all the characters and all the races represented, and you know, nobody would have any issues with it. But the whole idea of forcing it into Tolkien's world, that's where people have the issue.
Yeah. And, you know, going off that, you know, all we need to know is that Amazon has blatantly disregarded most, if not everything, what Christopher Tolkien laid out. So I think that tells you right there that they're, you know, I know that everyone has their little things about Jackson's trilogies, but at the end of the day, the spirit was there, and there was no outside baggage in those movies. So I think that's all that really needs to be said.
And George, I agree with you. I think I've let everyone speak, doing a lot of things over here at once and trying to shoot bots at the same time. So, yeah, I agree with that. Faithful adaptation. I just suffered through what they did to Robert Jordan with The Wheel of Time, which the word adaptation shouldn't be in the sentence. It was stealing names and not even putting people in the right places. And it's not an adaptation. It's identity theft. Let me get to this next super chat again from George. Thank you, brother. And thanks to everybody who's been hanging with us. This is a $19.99 super chat. Says, no studio requires this much. No studio requires this much propaganda. Red flag, dude. We have to do a show together. I have casting videos. So he does. Go check out, after we're done here, go check out George Molo's casting videos. His channel is George the Giant Slayer. And Zax, if you're still here, if you can put it in chat, I would appreciate it. No studio requires this much propaganda. Red flag. I have casting videos, and 75% of the auditions were not accurate to the legendarium characters and culture. They have followed, God help us, the BBC model of casting.
Yes, and if anyone is a fan of Discworld, they will know what happens when when the BBC have casting. You get a
Yeah.
cast that has literally nothing to do with established characters from books.
Yeah. And George concludes with saying, I want to be there, but at work. Well, hail to you, brother. I will be doing the same thing very shortly. I took a couple of months off because corporate America was making me crazy. And unfortunately, now I have to go back to that insane asylum. So, George, thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to work with you. Thank you for your support. Let's go ahead and give you. Let's on some mark, dude.
We travel light. That is handsome walk.
And Council of the Rings, real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Salty.
No, go ahead,
I was just
brother.
going to say, Council of the Rings, I know you got to go, brother. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your input today. That was extremely kind of you to swing
Yeah.
by. And he says, may the light of Arendil guide you all.
I reached out to you on Twitter. We connected. You and I haven't spoken together before, and Max and anybody else. I'd love to work with you whenever works for you. Let's collaborate. Let's talk. Because I think the more rational voices that aren't screaming and are trying to present this information, we may be preaching to the choir. But I also think that in the totality of that is maybe we will get to some of the normies or some of the people on the side who will then tell somebody else. And we may not get everybody, but if we can get 1 in 100, that changes the world. I've always thought that. So hail to you. Thanks for being here, Council of the Rings. And let me make sure that I am caught up here, you guys.
I think we have one last one from George.
Okay. All right. George, you're amazing. Thank you. So $9.99 super chat says, John Ronald Rule Token, the maestro of ink and quill, stated in his letter 131 that his masterpiece was to create a mythology for his beloved England.
Amen.
Well said.
Simple as that.
It is.
All of it is right there.
It is.
He wanted to do something. Yeah.
Yeah. And anything else? Purple, obviously, please.
Yes, just I wanted to give a shout out to a couple of people. George, it's great to see you, but also to Secret Squirrel. Thank you for being a dissenting voice, and this is what we want.
Yes.
As we are calling other
Mhm.
people out, call us out as well. This is how we hopefully come together. By having
Yes.
these discussions. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and having a
Yeah, no,
dialogue,
really.
I mean, having this kind of dialogue is important because through conflict, you can build consensus or you can build tolerance. And all we want to have is our concerns heard on this. And again, I have been in a lot of arguments that didn't end very well when I was screaming profanity at somebody else, usually my brother over sporting events. But, you can catch more flies with honey. At the same point, I do think the organizations and entities that we're dealing with, I don't think that we as fans even enter into the equation anymore. And I'm looking at you,
Well,
Disney,
we
and I'm looking at Netflix. Sorry, go ahead, Max.
Yeah, we showed that tweet from Purple that she showed earlier about that one
Yeah.
gentleman who blocked someone just because they probably had a concern.
And
We're
that's
seeing
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what's
and
gonna
that's what we're
happen.
seeing over and over and over
Yeah.
again is
Yeah.
concerns are seen as negativity,
Yeah.
whereas concerns should be seen as authenticity.
Yeah.
And so if you block those other voices, then that is going to be the echo chamber you create for
Yeah,
yourself.
and
Yeah.
So
and as we were seeing with the OneRing.net, when they made that poorly worded tweet, their own devout followers who are calling someone like me an ist and a phobe and all the things attack them for trying to make a joke. That snake, I'm sorry, it's going to eat itself, and I think that they're going to learn that lesson very hard and very soon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword because we don't want to stay silent, but we also know they're not hearing us. And we also know the reasons that they're making it, in our opinion, have nothing to do with the source material, love of the source material. And to me, it feels like they revel in the damage that they're doing by destroying the organic love of the source material. But I could be wearing a tinfoil hat. You actually aren't doing that. Are you? Did I give George a a video on this one? Or no?
Don't think so. No.
Okay. Did you have something to say, Purple?
No. Just I believe we've just got one more super chat from George to go.
Okay.
So thank you guys. Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
This one's for you, George.
Not alone.
Hail to you again, George, and hail to everybody who is in chat today. I'm sorry if I didn't get to you. There's somebody by the name of Flaccid Phoenix in the chat. If you're subscribed to him, go ahead and unsubscribe from Flaccid Phoenix. No, I'm just kidding. It's great to see you. We like to tease each other. He likes Braveheart just a little too much, if you know what I mean. So great to see you, Flaccid Phoenix. So
please go support him and unsubscribe. Thank you, Flaccid.
Yeah, exactly. We also have Dark Winter, who's in the chat. I haven't seen you before. Is like, my God, imagine classic Loki, rescuing Loki and using him to rescue Amora, so they team up to betray each other, and eventually Loki would figure out how to survive Thanos. Yes, what a waste. Yeah, see, we can come up with better stories than Marvel. Let's just leave that there. Our imaginations, what we know things to be. So Dark Winter asked the question, a lot of us in this fellowship, what is the BBC model? Before we wrap up here and get to George Super Chat, Purple, I'll allow you to say what the BBC model is.
Basically, the BBC model, whereas in the past the BBC used to be very non-partisan, it used to be very fact-based. You think back, we used to have fantastic dramas, we used to have documentaries, and they used to be very well-crafted. Now, in the past, I would say 15 years or so, they have moved further and further to the left, and we've seen more and more shows not historically accurate, I think would be the best way to put it politely, and they have a tendency to cast for casting's sake. If there is a box that can be ticked, that is where they will go, rather than what would be true to the actual character.
Now hold on a second, everybody take a deep breath. This comes to us from Faye. The BBC Integration and Diversity Officer now works with Amazon as Vice President for Europe. So,
oh wow,
it's. Do I even need to say anything? Let's just.
And there it is.
Just not.
6 degrees of separation. It's amazing.
Yeah, all part of the same agenda. Is that the right word? Let me get to this super chat real quick. I am scrolling. And again, you guys, the only reason I'm not responding to more of your tweets is that I don't have a day show. This was just a spur of the moment thing, and I didn't want to go this long, and I want to be respectful of this panel's time. And let's see, where is that last super chat, you guys? I seem to have missed it. Oh, I've got it.
And oh, go ahead.
Yep. Okay. Go ahead, Max, and then we'll wind down.
Oh, I was just going to vamp for you while we were finding George's last super chat here for 1999.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
So this is again, thank you to everybody who's been here today. This was an impromptu stream. It was just Max had an idea, I ran with it. Alasia was kind enough to join us, and of course, Purple Valkyrie was kind enough to join us. Although we really did want her to stay in the corset with the makeup, she said no. But still glad you're here.
You can see it on Twitter. Yeah.
You can see it. Yeah, go back and watch. It was a fantastic live stream. So again, from George Molo for 1999. Thank you, George, and thank you to everybody in chat. Really. Nothing is worse to me than those who state they are lovers of the legendarium, true adherents with pure passion in their hearts for Lord of the Rings, and then to blind newcomers to the world that Rings of Power is canon, a tribute to Tolkien. You can be kind and call that false advertising. You can also say that that is destruction of Western canon. And at a certain point, we have to, in my opinion, call it what it is. It's intentional.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about this? This will be the final point that we cover. I'm going to go ahead and play this. We'll start out with you, Alasia, and then we'll go ahead and get back to answering this question. George, let's see. I didn't have all of my really great ones pulled up today, but we'll start with this one. Here you go.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the Red Dawn!
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with you, Alasia. Your response to George, please.
Yeah, no, I think what he's getting at, and what I firmly believe, Amazon doesn't want us. They don't want those of us who have a deep and unyielding passion for the deep cut lore that is Tolkien's work. What they want is the wait and see crowd. What they want are the normies who are like, oh, Lord of the Rings, I saw that back in the day. This might be good. They want brand new people who know nothing about Tolkien, because believe it or not, there are people out there who know nothing about Tolkien. This will be Lord of the Rings in name only, and they are counting on the people who know nothing about Tolkien to turn up, and there are enough of those people in my mind that will keep this show running. So they are being completely disingenuous, and this is very intentionally a destruction of the mythos that we know to be Middle Earth.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that they don't know what they've awoken in the dark.
No.
In
No.
the depths.
They have delved too deep. They have delved too deep.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I mean, Alasia, you're right. This is a show made for normies, and hey, there's nothing. I mean, I was, a decade back, I was a normie, just kind of indulging in all this fun entertainment. But to a lot of these fans, Tolkien fans are unlike any other fan I've ever seen. And I've been to comic cons, I've been to comic book shops, I've been to Renaissance fairs, and you'll never meet a Tolkien fan that is not so passionate about the work that they want to just gush about it for hours, and so that's why I think it's when they make this for the normies, they don't realize that they, like I said earlier, have awoken something that is going to come back and what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to
It's going to be an overwhelming stampede, or it's literally like pulling if you pull enough rocks out of an old dam, the whole thing will collapse. You remember when the Ents go to war and they pull down the dam to flood where the White Tower is, and that deluge, it takes a little while to get there, but I think they can see it coming down the side of the mountain to flood their machine, the machine. Is that fair, Max?
Yeah. They're going to reject this, with as much as they can. But yeah, no, I'm thankful for what we do have. Even George said it earlier. One of the farthest stars and brightest stars away in our galaxy was just written in to be called Erendil, which is pretty
awesome.
cool. Like that's like stuff like that is so rad, and it is just that gives you hope. And so you can't say that there aren't fairly good things out there every now and then, but when we see stuff like this, it needs to be talked about, it needs to be called out. So.
Absolutely, yes. And I think that they vastly underestimated the amount of pushback they were going to get, not just from the die-hard Tolkien fans, but for people that were just casual fans as well. And it really does warm my heart to see people calling this huge corporation out for trying to pull the wool over our eyes.
I mean, that's the whole point of my stream, going through all 13 histories of Tolkien. That's the whole point. This made me so mad that I wanted to dive as deep into the Legendarium as I physically can. And the amount of fun I'm having is fantastic. But the more I read Essay of the Unfinished Tales, the more my heart breaks. It's just like, what is going to happen? So...
Alasia, was there someone you wanted to call out in chat?
The red book is here, so I just wanted to say hail to them. Thank you for popping in here.
Thank you.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Getting all the Tolkien people in today.
That's fantastic.
Love
and
it.
Please find me on social media. I'd love to collaborate. Everybody on this panel would love to collaborate with you. We love the source material. Not all of us are lore experts. Some of us just love reading the books, and they've meant a lot to us for me, almost 4 decades, if you can believe it or not. So let me take us out with this one. This is from Excalibur. It says, Game of Thrones attracted a ton of normies like this. I think they're banking on the same. I agree with you, but what did those first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones do that the latter ones didn't do? Anyone on this panel? What's your perspective on why Game of Thrones was successful, and when did it stop being successful?
It was successful because at the time we didn't have anything else like it, and because the budget was there. It was this huge, lavish production that caught people's attentions, and I don't think a lot of people were very familiar with the source material. I know George R. R. Martin has always been popular, but I wouldn't say he's on the same level as Tolkien is. But where it all went wrong is when they stopped following the books.
Anyone else
veered
want
too
to add?
far from the source material. Yep.
Thank
That's what it was.
you. Alasia, what about you?
Well, I mean,
Did you watch Game of
I
Thrones?
don't. I've
Sorry.
never watched Game of Thrones. I've tried the books. Me and Lady Gravemaster are on the same page about this. They never really floated my boat for whatever reason. But I'm not. You would have to be living under a rock to not know the level of backlash that it experienced. And again, as a book lover, there are several books that I deeply love that are going to be coming out, I guess, in the distant future, and it kind of makes my gut twist. So just we say that the Lord of the Rings fandom is a fandom unto itself, and that the backlash from us has been unprecedented. Book people in general are purists when it comes to their craft, and anything that does not respect the source material from the books usually does not go over well with the fans. The reason I think the backlash of the Tolkien fandom has been so significant is because there are just simply so many of us.
Shield Wall of Dragons, I've seen you many times on Purple Valkyrie's channel. Drops some wisdom right here. Amazon CEO, drums in the deep.
Well said.
They have awoken something. And Faye says it right here. Tolkien fans, we don't need organization. We don't need fan sites for us to be represented. We are on our own. We're used to being on our own. And for those of us who used to have to be nerds and fight to be nerds and be bullied because of it, we know the value of what we love, and that's why we're defending it. So let me just pop real quick through this thing, and we will close this show out. Let's go ahead and start with you, Alasia, since I already have you on the screen. Where can people find you? What do you got going on next? And let me just say this real quick. We have had almost 50 people in this show today. I am humbled. Thank you. Thank you for the comments. I wish I could have got to every one of them. I was shorthanded. We never expected this kind of reception, and I'm very grateful to all of you. Thank you. You've made this a wonderful, wonderful show and experience. But Alasia, go ahead.
Yeah, no, shout out to chat. You guys have been on fire. So thank you so much. All your support. None of us would be thriving on any of our channels if it weren't for you guys. You can find me at A Troubled Green on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. My Bookstagram account is A Troubled Green's Library. I hopefully will having my thoughts on the Northmen coming out here pretty soon. I want to talk about the dichotomy between the masculine and the feminine in that movie, because the more I think about it, the more I love it. So about doing masculine and the feminine really, really well. So yeah, Troubled Green everywhere. And thank you again for all your guys outpouring of support. I'm the newbie here. I'm the baby account here. And the way that the level to which this community and this fellowship have shown up for me is so humbling, and I kind of don't know what to do with it because I don't know how to take compliments, but you guys are just amazing. So thank you so much.
We just want to make you the most ferocious wolf cub ever.
Thank you.
That's my goal. Let's go ahead and move on to the amazing Purple Valkyrie. Again, congratulations, my friend, for 2,000 subscribers, for your 2-year anniversary, and for the invite this morning.
Thank you.
Where can people find you? What do they have going? What do you have going on?
Absolutely. First of all, let me say a huge thank you to this fantastic panel. We had some brilliant talking points, and even more so, thank you to the chat. You guys were fantastic as ever. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this just to pick up on some of the brilliant comments that you guys made. So thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
You can find me at Rise and Shine with Purple Valkyrie, and I will be back on this channel later on tomorrow evening, where we'll be doing our Tuesday show. So lots of more content to come. Thank you guys.
Before we get to Max, George, thank you. Thank you very much. I really look forward when we can collaborate, and I can hear you say your words in your own words. He gives us a $4.99 super chat, says one line, and this is we didn't even cover this today, so thank you. One line from the Vanity Fair interview says it all. Patrick McKay stating to write the novel Tolkien never did. They believe they are Tolkien's equal. There's a word for that, you guys. What's the word you would use for that, George? Like one word to describe what we think this Payne and McKay comparing themselves to Tolkien, writing what Tolkien couldn't do. Just a quick snap. Other than you can use profanity too. At this point, I'm probably demonetized, so it doesn't matter. But
arrogance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hail to you, George. Let's see. Let's just do Elrond. I got to do Elrond.
You should have stayed dead.
I'm gonna go watch that on my 50-inch TV just a couple times just to start the day. I'm just gonna go put that on my 50-inch TV just a few times. That's all.
I didn't realize that was going to be erotic material for you, Alasia. Now I know. Okay, that's fine. The more you know. Ta-da! Yeah. Anyway, thank you, George. Thanks to everybody in chat. I agree with this. There were a lot of statements in that Vanity Fair article. That was a troubling one. The other one, which I thought was revealing, was that we all know there are no hobbits in the Second Age, but could you imagine Middle Earth without hobbits? And I, for one, can, because that's how Tolkien wrote it. So we're going to go ahead and wind down. Max, where can people find you? What do you got going on, brother?
Yeah, you guys can find me MVP Maxfield Von Priestley with this little guy here. Oh, is he going to want to? He's falling asleep. He's falling asleep sitting up, so his eyes are closed. Yeah, thank you guys for having me on today. Thanks for being so just free and being able to say, let's get this stuff out there. Let's do a stream. Put aside what I have to do for work today or whatever. Yep. It is so kind that people came out today in full force. Yeah. We had so many people, even X11 Bravo, who took
Roger
on, being a wrench, dude. X11, thank you, brother. Hail.
Yeah.
That was very kind of you. So
I may have conscripted him into that. So thanks. Yes. Thanks for doing that, brother.
Okay. Yeah.
And Zach's as well, because he's at work. Bless him. So thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
Yes, Zach. Thank you for covering down on that as well. And these guys have our six at all times, and so I appreciate all the wrenches in chat and everyone being here. Yes, I will be streaming tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. Tonight we're going over some spicy relationship tweets. We're going to go over the Disney factory and how it processes or manufactures its assembly line of products. And hey, maybe I will add in some of this too. Some of the talking points that we've been discussing here through some of the Twitter accounts that we've mentioned. And then I'll be, hopefully, if we have some time, showing off some of my spiciest, hottest comic book female covers.
Nice.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, hopefully those don't get me taken off or anything, because they're artwork, right? So shouldn't.
Yeah. Just like that Invisible Woman statue that I showed that clip of about a month ago. So you guys, thanks for being here today. Thank you all. I'm gonna do what I don't like to do, which is put myself in the center square. Thank you to everybody. And I really want to thank you, Maxfield Von Priestley, for taking this idea and being crazy enough to run with it with 45 minutes notice. Thank you to Alasia for being so fierce and brave and just jumping on and running with this. It really means a lot to me. And thank you, as ever, to Purple Valkyrie for bringing your takes, your insights, and your magnificent voice to these conversations. Thank you to the chat for showing up. Thank you to George Molo. Thank you to Taker610. Thank you to everybody who gave super chats today. I would love to say this is something we're going to be able to do all the time. Probably not, but I'm glad we could do it right now. So hail to you. Thank you to everyone. Remember, we're not alone in this. You're not crazy for not wanting the things that you loved destroyed. And the worst thing we can do is stay silent about it. So hail to you. Thank you. Is there anything anybody wants to say before we go? And otherwise, I will blaze us out of here.
I think we have our very own fan-made shield wall. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant.
Amen.
Oh, all right. I'm going to use my outro for my Tuesday night show. You guys have a great rest of your day. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Share this out on social media. Be sure to follow Purple Valkyrie, Maxfield Von Priestley, and A Troubled Green on YouTube. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Bye.
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 As ever, this is Salty Texas Sea. I am Corey DB. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen and heard, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you on board. That way you know. And we have things like live streams, which we are going to be doing every Tuesday evening. Take care. I hope you're having a great 2022.